Hey, welcome to 4x Trail. I'm Caleb, and about a year ago I did a video. It's one of the first videos on the channel where I showed you guys how I raise and lower the hardtop of my Jeep using a simple electric hoist. I'll post the link for that video below if you haven't seen it, but the video has gotten a ton of attention and a lot of you guys have been asking, Caleb, how did you actually install that hoist? I want to see what it looks like from the attic side, like how you installed it, what process did you use, because it wasn't a kit, it was something I pieced together myself. Well, we recently moved and I'm setting up the new garage here. I took down the electric hoist, the same one from the old garage. I brought it with me. And I thought, you know what, before I put this thing up in the new garage, I want to show you guys just how simple it is to install one of these electric hoists. Well, before we jump in, I want to show you guys just what you need for an install. It's really simple. First, you're going to need the hoist itself. This is just a simple electric hoist that I purchased from Amazon. I'll leave a link below in the description that you can pick one of these up. That's a great way to support the channel. And this hoist has been great. I've actually been using it for a couple of years now, and it's been really easy to use and very durable. And then you'll need a way to support the hoist in the attic. I used a piece of unistrut I purchased from Home Depot and slid it through the brackets on top of the hoist, and then a metal strip to go on top and bolted it together. That's just to keep the hoist from sliding side to side too much whenever it's in operation. If you mount it level, it's not really going to move side to side. It's basically just lifting up and down. And then whatever material you use for this, it's got to be strong enough to support the weight of the hoist and the weight of whatever you're lifting, obviously. So in my case with the Jeep's hardtop, this unistrut works just fine. Next, you'll need to build a structure that the hoist can be supported by. And if these are the floor joists in your attic, I'm just kind of showing them as an example, then you'll need to stack some 2x4s, or in my case 2x3s, together to support the unistrut that goes across those. The hoist will actually hang in the middle above the drywall ceiling of your garage. So it's going to be important for you to measure the distance from the ceiling of your garage up to how high you need for the hoist supports. So in my case, 3 2x3s works great as far as the distance that I need so that the hoist has enough clearance. And once these are screwed together and then screwed to the floor joist in your attic, you've created the system you need to mount the hoist. So you simply put the hoist in place, and then I just used a couple of metal brackets on either side and screw them into your 2x4 stacks, or in this case 2x3 stacks. Once your hoist is securely mounted, I always like to, from the garage side below, screw into the ceiling a couple of eye hooks into the floor joist on either side of the hoist, and use a safety cable like this with some carabiners. Just once the top is raised, you can run this through the straps, and if the hoist were to fail, this would keep your top from falling to the ground. Then for the 2 holes that you cut in the ceiling, I like to use PVC rings like this one. This is a smaller size for the power cable or the remote controller, and this one be for the hoist hook and cable itself. And you can see these are smaller on one end and larger on the other, so they sit down in the holes in your ceiling. You can caulk around them to secure them as well. Just gives it more of a finished look. It's also worth noting that when it comes to lifting your hardtop, you'll need 2 10-foot straps with loops on either end like this. And I used a couple of large carabiners and a metal ring and hook it all together. There's more on that in that first video that you've probably already seen, but I'll include these in the items that you'll need as far as when actually lifting your hardtop. And as far as the tools you'll need, just a drill and some screws, and a socket and ratchet for the bolt on top of the unistrut, and then a drywall knife to cut the holes in the ceiling, Sharpie, tape measure, and of course a flashlight's nice to be able to see your way around the attic. Well, those are the materials and the tools you'll need. Now I'm going to show you the attic and how I've prepped it for the install. So here's just below the hatch of the attic. Of course, it's nice to mount the hoist as central as you can, so I just used the door opener as kind of my line of sight here for the holes. This is where the hoist cable will come through. This is for the power and the controller. And if you go up on top, hopefully you can see this okay. You can see where I cut the holes, and then I found a place where I can run the stack of 2x3s across the floor joist, and again screw those to the floor joist themselves, and then set that hoist right in here, run the power cable, and you're good to go. So I'm gonna get this thing installed, and then I'll show you guys once it's in what the finished product looks like. Well guys, I got the hoist installed. I wanna show you the view from below and kind of explain things, and then we'll go up in the attic and I'll actually show you how I secured it to the floor joist. So you can see there's the hook itself coming through, and then there's the power cable running to power, and then the controller cable coming down here. So that's where you'll control the hoist itself from. You can see the 2 PVC rings I have kind of poking through the holes there. And then I've already got my safety cable installed as well, so an eye hook there in the floor joist and an eye hook just to the right of the hoist hook there in that floor joist. So now let's go up and I will show you guys the view from up here. Hopefully the lighting will work out for us here, but you can see there's the 2x3s that, again, I screwed those together before even bringing them up. And what I ended up using were these little L brackets. In the past I've been able just to screw down through the 2x3 into the 2x4 floor joist. But in this case it was kind of splitting the wood, so I use these L brackets. So you can decide what's best for your application. But you can see I just laid the hoist across here, and there's the other stack of 2x3s with the L bracket, and the hoist is secured with those U clamps or C clamps just right across, screwed into the top of the stack of 2x3s there. You can see here the power cable running through over to the receptacle, and then I actually used zip ties to hold this power cable up against the ceiling. Just drilled a couple little holes and ran the zip tie over the top of the drywall and down. Kind of a simple fix. I didn't have anything that would work to hold that into the drywall handy, so I just drilled a couple holes and used some zip ties. Kind of a little DIY thing for you there. So to see this hoist in action, you can check out the first video that I posted. Again, I'll leave a link for that down below. Check that out. And guys, I hope this was helpful today. If you haven't subscribed already, you're going to want to do that. Now that we have relocated to Arizona especially, there's just so many incredible trails around here I'm looking forward to exploring, and a lot more DIY projects coming up on the channel as well. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll get alerts when I post a new video, and I'll see you guys soon.